To stay at home and play giggle giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system.
You see, this guy here, he gets it. Now, I've been saying this for years now. Why would I procreate in colonies and plantations to further the slave factories? Why would I do that? It makes no sense, right? It's like cows and farms just producing their own replacements to continue the slaughterhouse. It makes no sense. Now, people tend to default to their ideas of their natural instincts to procreate, or to fill some type of emotional void, to create their own body to share in the misery. But in the end, fundamentally, it makes no sense. To me, it's counter to your own survival. I feel more incentivized to leave this culture because I want to procreate, rather than stay within it to produce my own replacement or somebody to share in the misery.
Finally, a man that gets it. He gets it when women are coming out and saying they want to be child-free by choice. He finally gets it, like a man, just a single man, finally came out to speak about it. And I'm going to play his video for you all to watch so that we can be on the same page. And I'll come back and talk about it.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother. I don't need to stay at home and play giggle giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system. I don't have to do any of this shit. Why should I do that? Why should I waste my resources doing this when there's other games that are much more fun that are available for me to play? Why? And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment. And that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So I'm talking as a woman, right? I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me. And I'm the byproduct of their discontent. And then you tell me I should do the same thing as they did. Well, quite clearly it didn't work out. So why should do this? What's the point? How's that going to fulfill me? And the only reason I did that before, or a couple of generations ago, is because the zoo required me, through its ordained religious priests and its science of the time, which was religion, that imposes us to do that and gave us, this is what you are as a woman, you're supposed to give birth. And you as a man are supposed to go work in the field like a donkey. This was ordered by the zookeepers in order for us to create more slaves so that we can build the zoo and make the zoo structure increase and grow and grow and grow. So I didn't really want to have a child. I was obliged to have a child. It was what I did because there's nothing else to do. And that was what was told to me to do, even though it may match my biology. I didn't necessarily want to have a child. What for? What's in it for me?
So he said if he was a woman, he's not going to bother having children, having any child for any man, because what is the point? And he also made reference with his grandmother and his mom. They were not all that successful just because they have children. So what is the point? Child-free women have been coming out to say they don't want to have children, but people have been attacking them. Straight men have been attacking them. Why would you say you don't want children? You want to die young? Even some women have been attacking them. I want to play stitches for you all to watch, and I want to know what you all think in the comment section. Okay? And I'm going to play stitches for you all to watch, then I'll come back and talk about it.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child?
Men love to talk about how logical they are. This is the only man I've actually seen be logical regarding this conversation about kids. It's real easy to talk about having a child when you're not the one that's got to carry him. You're not the one who body gonna change. You're not the one who life gonna get put at risk. You're not the one who the man can up, jump, and leave, and you be left to be a single mother. When you ain't being put into that position, it's real easy to tell somebody what they should do or what they should want to do. But that's the reason why I would never let no man convince me to have a child, because since you don't have to go through any of those things, you will never be able to tell me what I should do when it comes to having kids. It will never sit right in my heart, the fact that I could go through all of those life changes to have a child, and this man can up, jump, change his mind the next day and decide he don't want none of it and go on about his life like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, I don't have that same luxury. Knowing that is enough to know I don't want no children. You know how they say you should want better for your children? Well, I want so much better for my children that I've never had that I would never have them. That's how much better I want for them. I don't want to bring them here to this ghetto, right? There's nothing nice about this place. You do the best you can while you here, but ain't nothing great and wonderful about this place. This place is ghetto. Bringing children here who would have to work just to maintain a lifestyle, just to live well, knowing the fact that I can't protect them from pretty much anything, right? I can do my best as a mother, and that still ain't enough because I can't protect them from the world. They will still have to leave me eventually, and they will have to deal with other people, and I have no control over that. All of that don't sit well with me. Knowing something that I love, I would have to release it to this world, let this world be impressionable to it, have effects on it. I don't want that. At the end of the day, having children is a very selfish act. And you can go argue with somebody else about it because I said what I said. Anytime you're the main factor in making a decision and this person has no say-so on the decision that you're making, it's a selfish act, right? A lot of times y'all are bringing children here who didn't ask to be here, and you bringing them into circumstances that are not fit. A lot of y'all, if you really loved your children, you would have did them the favor of never having them. Because a lot of y'all, you not good mothers, you not good fathers, and you did not deserve to have no children, right? The only thing you've done by having them is cause trauma on somebody who didn't deserve to have trauma put on them.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
So I guess it's cool when they say it, but it's a problem when women say it. Fuck it. No, all jokes aside, I'm glad that at least one man on TikTok can understand why we don't want kids. I'm not saying he's the only one, but I'm saying more y'all need to speak up. If you are not a fulfilled and happy person before you have kids, that shit's not going to change afterwards. I said in another video that if you're going to have a kid, make sure you have a kid because you want the kid. You can afford a kid. That's it. Everybody who pressures you into having a baby does not have to deal with the consequences of raising that child when that child gets here. So why would you listen to them?
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
I'm about to offend some people and step on some toes. And that's okay because maybe, just maybe, the right set of people will hear this and they will make a different decision on how they go about with their kids. All right. I know how some of you like to tussle in the comments, but if it doesn't apply to you, let it fly for you. So at the end of the day, some of y'all had children. This is including men. Some of y'all had children because you did not receive the unconditional love as a child. So you're allowing your childhood trauma to make decisions for you as an adult and therefore affect the trajectory of your children's lives as well. Do you realize how hard it is and how much weight that you put on a person when you don't properly love yourself because you didn't properly receive love for your home? So you're making them do the job that somebody else was supposed to do, and also part of the job that you're supposed to be doing for yourself. Let me run that by you one more time. Basically what I'm saying, in a nutshell, you've allowed your childhood trauma to live throughout your adolescence into your adult life, where you decided not to have children for a reason that's actually viable, but for a reason that you wanted unconditional love so badly that you would create a life that is only serving a purpose to fulfill your needs, instead of taking the necessary time that it was needed to either get therapy to work through your childhood trauma, so that way when you get your child, you can love them from a healthy perspective instead of expecting them to love you at a capacity that you did not learn how to love yourself or was not provided to you by your parents. I'm gonna give you a prime example, right? All right, so using myself, my mother does suffer with issues of narcissism. Now, whether or not she wants to identify that or not, that's on her. But overall, I'm aware of it because I did study a little form of psychology back when I went to college, and to get a better understanding of myself and some of the circumstances that I've gone through in my life with people. When I came to this realization, it also made me think about some of the reasons why I asked myself why I wanted to have kids to begin with. And then I thought to myself, do I really want to have children, or do I want to have kids so I can say that there's somebody that actually loves me, because I never felt like I was loved by anybody in my family. And I do mean nobody. And so then it really got me to thinking, why would I put such a heavy burden or expectation onto something that didn't ask to be here? I'm giving you a title or a job before you even are able to understand the processes of what you're coming out of. It's a traumatic experience for a child to go from the womb of their mother out into the world as it is now. So when you really stop and think about it, you're not even really thinking about your kids before your kids are even really here. They're solely serving a selfish purpose for you to feel fulfillment and love that you could have worked out through therapy and acknowledging the love that you didn't receive in order for you to love yourself in a healthy way now and also love your kids better. Food for thought.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child?
The gentleman in this video goes on to talk about how if he was a woman, he would not want a child because of his experience of seeing his mother and grandmother being extremely unfulfilled with motherhood. And it makes sense from his perspective. His mother suffered, his grandmother suffered. They were not fulfilled in life by being a mother and wife. So why would you even bother doing that if you are a woman? The thing is that a lot of people do not want to acknowledge that your experience of being a mother and motherhood in general is truly determined by who you choose to have children with. A lot of women, after they have children, have no autonomy or individuality or have any life outside of their children and being a wife to their partner. And I can only assume, but I'm assuming in his scenario, he saw his mother and grandmother have that exact same experience. They may have not had partners who provided them the autonomy, the ability to have passions, careers, or anything else outside of the household, and that made them resent being a mother and resent being a wife, and therefore showcasing that resentment to their children and creating that generational trauma. As a young woman in her dating experience and journey, it is very important for you to always think long term, and who you entertain, you have to ask yourself, can I see this person being a good father? Can I see this person being a good husband? And when I do choose to have children, am I going to be able to have a life outside of being the mother of his kids and his wife? Because if not, you're going to resent that whole dynamic and you're not going to be happy at all. Do not forget, your experience of motherhood is truly determined by who you choose to have children with. Choose wisely.
Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man.
So I've seen a discourse lately about women not wanting to have a baby. And let me tell y'all something. Y'all are doing the right thing. I don't know why there's even a conversation about you being selfish or the rich auntie is just not being responsible. I don't even know why that's a conversation. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. I got married in my late 20s, did not have my first child until I was 40. Mainly because I wanted to make sure that the marriage was secure enough to withstand having a child. And I only had one. Like, I was smart enough to only have one child. My father told me, only have the number of babies that you can support on your own. And because I was a teacher, I couldn't afford any babies. If my ex-husband had left me and I had to raise a child on that little teacher salary that I had, I would not have been able to afford any children. It wasn't until I had been teaching damn near 15 years that I felt comfortable enough that I could manage a child on my own, just in case my ex-husband didn't send child support. And even with waiting that amount of time, me and him still ended up divorced. I had absolutely no intention of being a single parent. I never wanted to be a single parent. And I was willing to not have children in order to have the type of life that I wanted. Now my son is here. I love him to death. There's nothing that I wouldn't do for him. And I actually kind of recommend having at least one baby. Like, I'm a big proponent that you should have one. But for the women that don't want a kid, baby, I'm right there with you. I totally understand why you would not want children. And I do not understand why women have 4, 5, 6 kids knowing that they're not financially stable. Like, they can barely afford one, and yet they have these outrageous numbers of babies. And for anybody that don't want to get married or is happily single, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. One of the conversations that I had with one of my friends that I used to hang out with is that I already had a husband. I don't feel the need to have another one. I know how much work goes into having a man in your life and how much work goes into a relationship. And it's not selfish for me to say I don't have the time or energy or the inclination to give all of that to a man. I'm not going to say that, but he's got to be pretty fucking fantastic for me to give up my life that I have right now. So you're not being selfish. Do what's best for you.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
I love this because I was watching it and it occurred to me that it's starting to seem absurd that women are expected to have children. And then it occurred to me that for our daughters and our granddaughters, that's just going to be the norm for them, that it's absurd to think back at a time when women were only seen for the value that they could give in bearing a child. So that's so cool that like 50 years from now, that's just going to be an artifact because it's already happening right now. And we're going to get to see that paradigm in our own children. We're breaking out of it, but they're going to live it. So that's so cool. You know, if we all can keep it together to live that long.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
Please go back and watch the rest of that video for full context because as a woman who's almost 40 with no children, I wholeheartedly agree. And every time I'm met with the question, and it's always by men as to why I don't have children and when will I have children, which first of all, it's nobody's business, I return the question with the why should I? And it always leaves everyone dumbfounded. And the men always say, you know what? You have a point. Okay. And this is precisely why I teach my cosmic psychology course. It's not about the biblical text. It's not about the hidden knowledge that's in fucking the mystery schools. It's not about any of that, but it's about the true mindset mastery because it's all about us. And when you go through the text, when you break it down, when you let it lead you by spirit and not by the letter, as it says in the text, you will realize the level of indoctrination that has us completely rooted in fear, that has us programmed to be like robots, or as this guy says, a zoo, where we are all just getting up every day, completely unfulfilled, completely imbalanced in our entire freaking life, and we just make babies for the zoo. To create slaves, just like my man said in the video. And there are so many women out there who don't find fulfillment with their children. Not saying that's all of them. Don't come and attack me because I'm not saying that's all of them. Some people, there's no greater joy than being a parent. And good for them. But that whole ideology of, well, who's going to take care of you also when you get older? As a former medical professional, I can tell you there's tons of people in the nursing homes with full-on families. And all they ever ask is, I was good to my children. Why aren't they taking care of me? They just forget about me. No, Susan, you were an ass. And you never healed. And you preached indoctrination into your children. And now they're old enough to say, no, it's not okay. So yeah. Go ahead and watch the whole video. And if you're interested in genuinely learning true mindset mastery, sign up for my class.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
Having a child is loving somebody more than you love yourself. To put it into perspective, I live in constant fear of my child getting hurt. I don't trust another man with my son. I don't trust truly anybody with him. I am so afraid of dying because I know nobody will ever care for him the way that I do. Having a child is having your soul walking outside of you for the rest of your life. It's a crazy fucking feeling. So if you want to feel a free life and only take care of you, do it. Live your life.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child.
A lot to unpack there. And I don't know what the background of this guy is, honestly, but I do agree with some of his points. No one in society should be made to feel obligated to do anything. You're an adult. Don't want to have kids? Then don't have kids. But also understand there are certain activities you engage in that might lead to you having kids. And be smart about that too. But I have a profound respect for people who recognize that they are not meant to be parents, because not everyone is meant to be a parent. It requires commitment, mental, emotional, psychological, financial, across the board, 24/7 for the rest of your life. Even after they fly the coop, you're still their parent. So, you know what? I have a profound respect for people who just say, I am not meant to be a mom, I am not meant to be a dad, and I don't want kids. Mad respect. There are some of us who do.
Women that decide to have children or they currently have children, I feel like they fail to ask themselves, why do I want to have this child? How many children can I take care of? Why do I want to be a mother? There's some questions you're supposed to ask yourself before making society make you feel like if you don't have children, if you don't have a child, you are not yet a woman. So women that are child free by choice, they have the opportunity to ask themselves, do I really need to have this child? Will I be able to pursue my career when I have this child? They have a lot of reasons why they don't want to have children at all. And I feel like people should just respect that. And it's not everybody that wants to procreate. It's not everybody that wants to have children. It's not everybody that needs it. It's not everybody that's going to succumb to society. It's not everybody that wants to do what everybody is doing just because 100 women are having children, I have to have a child as well. It's not everybody. And I feel like people should start getting it. People should start getting it. And not just women. I want men as well, because straight men are not getting it. They're like, women are like, you're supposed to have children, you're supposed to get pregnant. So if you're not going to do all of that, why are you a woman? Why do I want you? The men are not still getting it. I'd like to know what you all think down in the comment section, because this conversation, I can keep going on and on and on and on, because I enjoy talking about child free by choice topic. I so much enjoy it, and I know a lot of my subscribers, a lot of people that watch my video as well, they enjoy child free by choice content. Let me know what you all think down in the comment section. I hope you like this one, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And of course, I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye.